How do you bounce back from a med school rejection if you've been rejected in the previous admission cycle? Of course, this is going to be heartbreaking. I totally understand. But there is a three-step systematic strategy we use with our students that works consistently, and it works really well. In fact, it's pretty straightforward and simple. I'm going to share it with you in just a moment. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Behrouz Momeni. I'm the CEO and founder here at BeMo, where we help students with admissions to highly competitive graduate and professional programs. Normally, students who seek our help, they want to make sure that this is their first and last time applying by making sure that they put their best foot forward. Or they've been rejected in the past and they want to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes again. Now, if you want to seek our help, all you have to do is go to BeMo Academic Consulting.com. We have included the link somewhere around this video, either below this video or above this video. Click the link, go on our website, click on our contact form, and fill out the very short form we have with as much detail as you can. And this is going to allow us to schedule a free initial consultation so you can speak to one of our admission experts and we can start planning a personalized course of action for you and help you from there. Now, going back to what we were talking about and how to bounce back from a rejection, and here's what to do. First thing you got to do is you have to identify the problem. You have to figure out what aspects of your application might have caused you to receive those rejection letters. So what could it possibly be? Well, first of all, it could be the list of schools you applied to. Perhaps you have to go back and make sure that the schools you applied to were appropriate schools based on your admission statistics, of course their admission statistics and your own sort of GPA and MCAT scores. You also want to make sure that you had all the prerequisite courses and required coursework. You also want to make sure that you met their mission statement. Now, for example, if they said rural area experience is absolutely essential and you didn't have any rural experience in rural areas, of course that's one reason perhaps you were rejected. So that's a very first thing to do. The second thing to do is look at your GPA and MCAT scores, see if there's any room for improvement. Next, you have to reevaluate the individuals who acted as your referees. So the individuals who wrote your letter of recommendations, were they the best individuals to ask? Did they write you strong letters of recommendation? Next, you want to also assess your the quality of your written application documents. Was your personal statement, your secondary essays, your work activity section, your autobiographical sketches, were they all top-notch? Were they really fantastic? Remember, you're in a really tough competition, so just good is not good enough. It needs to be really outstanding. Every aspect of your application has to be outstanding. There is no other way around it. Next thing to look at is, how did you do on the Casper test if you had to write the Casper test? That's another thing to reflect back on. And lastly, if you were invited for an interview and rejected afterwards, how did you do during your interview? Normally, if you were invited for an interview and you were rejected, that's a good indication that you didn't do well during the interview stage of the application process. Once you have figured this out, there may be one thing, two things, there may be multiple things throughout this list that I mentioned that you could work on. Once you've done this analysis, the next thing you have to do is you have to narrow down the list to only items where you know you can make significant improvements. So I'll explain what I mean. For example, if your GPA was a 3.89, so close to a 3.9, well, there's not much to do with that type of a GPA. On the other hand, let's say your MCAT scores was in the 70th percentile. Of course, there's lots more room to bring it closer to the 90th percentile and above. So again, be strategic. Only start working on the areas where you know you're gonna create a significant MCAT. I should say a significant MCAT rather, instead of focusing on everything. It's not possible for you to improve everything, and not everything necessarily requires to make significant improvements. Lastly, This is, of course, very straightforward and common sense. As soon as you identify those areas, get to work and get to work immediately and start working like hell. There is no other way around it. Of course, the journey throughout the application process is really tough, but it's even tougher to be a medical doctor. So it's better to show the admissions committees that you can withstand the challenges of the admissions part, because that tells them that once you're a medical student and later on a future medical doctor, you'll have no problem to face the actual challenges of being a medical doctor, which are way more challenging than the application and the admissions process. I hope you enjoyed these tips as much as I enjoyed making the video for you. If you did, go ahead and share it with someone who may benefit as well. Feel free to like this video, ask us any questions you have in the comment section. We'll answer all your questions, and feel free to subscribe to whatever social media that you're watching this on, and I hope to talk to you soon.